Hello. For those that don't know me, my name is Tammy. I had a transplant April 14th, 2023. And graft versus host is one of the things they tell you to look for. And before you leave the hospital after transplant, they tell you don't get discouraged if you end up back because it's common. I got past my 100 days, which usually is when it will happen, and I thought, I've done it, I'm not going to get it. Then fast forward to November 10th, I noticed a rash starting on my stomach, so I called the on-call team and sent them pictures, and they said, okay, for now, just put the cream on your stomach 2 times a day, and then if it gets worse, let us know. Well, I had an appointment coming up the next week, so I just kept putting the cream on and figured they'll see it in a week. And then 2 days before my appointment, I started getting nauseous feeling, and I thought, well, it's just my meds because I take a ton of meds. Then the morning of my appointment, I got worse. I started vomiting, and I did not have any energy at all. So we get to the hospital, take my blood work, head up to the floor, and they got me in a little sooner than my appointment time. And the cancer team saw me first. And Heather said, honey, I'm sorry, but you're going to be admitted today. Your liver numbers are high. Of course, not what I really wanted to hear, but okay, we'll face this. So next was the transplant team. They came in and we went over some other stuff, and he said that normally if we were to catch it early or not so advanced, at how sick I was, that we could do just at home prednisone and treat it that way. But because my numbers were so off in so many areas and I was as sick as what I was, I got directly admitted. They immediately put me on NPO, and it was a tough 2.5 weeks with no food, no water, only enough to take my meds, not even ice chips for the first 2 weeks. I got put on a very strong dose of steroids. I had at one point 7 or 8, but I had to have 2 IV poles to hold all of the machines to administer every med that I was being given. I had to have an upper GI. I also had a colonoscopy. They found where the graft versus host had caused irritation within, and one was infected. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I had to have a special I have the side effects of cognitive issues due to the chemo treatments, so some things I just have a hard time remembering infectious disease team. They came in, put their hands in it, got me on a dose of medicine that is also hard on your kidneys. And so they would do a flush for 30 minutes to add extra fluid into me, administer that med, and then I think there was a bolus of the fluids afterwards also. I can't remember. But that in itself can burn areas. So I had that. And then one day Richard went to work because he would stay with me every night. The best caretaker you could ask for. He would keep me going. One days I would just want to curl up in a ball and say, I'm not doing anything. So anyway, he went to work, and I thought maybe I slept wrong because my hip was hurting so bad. So I tried walking the room, I tried exercising it, and nothing was helping. So I sat in the chair thinking, okay, I won't be in the bed, let's try the chair. Chair wasn't working. I tried laying on Richard's bed. That wasn't working, so I went back to the chair, and one of the nurses had come in, and she says, honey, what is wrong? And I started crying, and I'm like, I am in so much pain. She says, well, don't sit here and suffer. We can help you. So they went and talked to the team doctors, and they said, go ahead, let's give her some, oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I can't remember. Anyway, a pain med that she knew I wasn't comfortable doing because I just don't like extra things put in me. But we did it, and it did not work. She come back a little bit later, and she said, it's not working, is it? And I said, no. So within a couple minutes, the team come in, and they're asking me, okay, what does it feel like? I said, it's hard to describe because it kind of feels like it's in my bones, but yet it kind of feels muscular. I said, but it is sharp pains. And I was physically shaking that it was that bad. So we ended up changing over to like a muscle relaxer and another pain med combined. And it relieved so much of the pain. I felt so much better. Richard had called prior to me starting to feel better, and he left work because I couldn't hide it from him. I heard it. He heard it in my voice that I was in a lot of pain. So he gets there, everything's back under control, and he helped me. We walked, and day was done. I also got so weak that I couldn't even get up off the toilet by myself. So Richard would always have to help me. But when he left to go to work, I wasn't thinking, and the nurse had already told me before, just push the buzzer that says bathroom and we'll know you're in there and we'll come check on you. I forgot to push it. Got in there, and I'm just thinking, great. I'm going to be in here until Richard gets off work. And then I thought, I can't stay here this whole time. So I pulled the string, and I can hear running. So I open the door and I say, I'm just stuck. So they cancel everybody out, and the girl helps me up. And I was too proud to let them put the riser seat on there because you have to measure everything, and it was too embarrassing for me, and I let my pride get in the way. Lesson learned. I let them help. But I also refused physical therapy, thinking I don't need it. I'm walking, I'm doing the things that I should do. And that was not the right choice. I'll address that a little bit further in. So I had to still go with no food. And then once we did start introducing food to me, I had to have diabetic testing prior to eating, and I became diabetic and had to have insulin shots prior to my meals. That subsided once I started eating on a regular basis, and boy did it feel good to eat again. When they said that I was getting ready to go home, I was nervous, and I thought about, can I just stay over the weekend just in case? Excuse me. And they were going to let me stay, and the night that I had, nurses were told that they don't have to come in and do anything on me for the 8 hours at night from 10 to 7. Well, the third shift nurse decided to come in. I'll be back. Just dozed back off. She comes back in, has me sit up, says, what is your name? I tell her my date of birth, everything. I need you to spell your name. Oh my God, Tamberly Cronkite. And when I'm half asleep, I was not nice. And she tried to have me do certain different things. And I said, listen, did you not know that I'm on 8 hours of rest? And she ignored me. And needless to say, the room I was in was not in an area where it's quiet. I had the banging of all of the med drawers throughout the night. I had the call bell going off all night. I had had enough. And the next morning when the doctors come in and they said, so how are you feeling? I said, I'm doing good. How are the food staying in? I said, it's staying in fine. He says, well, do you feel comfortable going home, or do you still want to stay a couple extra days? I said, I want to go home. And he says, wow, that was a quick answer. And I said, yeah, it was a rough night. I wasn't nice to the third shift nurse. I think it's time to just go home and be in my own home. So we packed up and got released. I come home, and I start coming in the back door. Took one step, and this step is not even but maybe that high. No warning, down I went. I holler, Rick. He's never called Rick. He's always Richard. He comes out and he goes, oh my God, are you okay? What happened? Said, just get me up, get me in the house. He said, my legs went out. So he gets me in the house. He had to help me up the stairs. And I stayed sleeping for a while. Going down the stairs was okay. I still held on anyway. But going up the stairs, I always had to have him behind me because my legs did give out twice while on the stairs. Luckily, I knew enough to fall forward. And it was a very hard time for me. Because I had to have him lift me in the bathroom. I finally gave in and we got seat risers, and that was a huge, huge difference. There were a couple of times where I was walking through the house and just, no warning, down I'd go. Side effects of steroid. I think it was called steroid myopathy. And it took quite a while for my strength to come back. I still don't have it 100%, but I don't fall. I can now go up the stairs without holding on, but I always keep my hand on the rail just because. Also, it has been a year since my GVHD, and just recently I went to the eye doctor, found out I have a cataract in my right eye, and surgery is March 3rd, and it is caused by the steroids. As far as the GVHD, occasionally my stomach will flare up and my bowels will flare up. I'm still on the immunosuppressant medicine, which may be something that I have to stay on for my life. I don't know. When we do try, things start to flare up a little bit. We just have to reintroduce it back in. I'm not sure if we'll try to come off of it again. I'm sure they'll try. But for now, we're staying on it. And it's just a low dose, so it's not anything that interferes with like my driving like it did before. When it was high dose, I wasn't allowed to drive. So any little thing that happens, we always look for rashes. We always look for the stomach and bowel issues. So lost my train of thought. I've had a great caregiver, as I said earlier. I still suffer fatigue. I need naps every day. Sometimes a couple naps every day. But I am thankful that I am here, and I will face each of these struggles. Not saying that I don't get down, that I don't get depressed, because that would be a lie. I do. It's a whole new life. I sometimes miss things because of how I feel. I'm still scared to death to be in public. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice right now, but I have sinuses and a couple cough issues, which triggers me to think that, oh God, my cancer's back, which will be another video of PTSD. So, for now, that is GVHD. GVHD is a journey all on its own. I try to stay positive, and when people in my transplant groups ask questions about the GVHD when they're just now getting their transplant, I try to tell them, don't focus on the graft versus host. Know that it's a possibility and just enjoy your recovery as much as you can. Be cautious, be aware, but don't let it control you, because I have let it control me. So everybody's journey is different. Some are harder than what I've gone through. Some are not as hard. So anyone watching this that is going through it, keep fighting the fight. Be strong. Listen to the doctors. And hopefully you have caregivers that are as great as mine. I have, like I said, my husband, my daughters, my dad, and my grandkids keep me going, and my sons-in-laws are also wonderful. So, anybody have any questions, you can ask me. I am not afraid to answer anything. You're not prying into my life. You are just asking questions, and I would rather people know, because I'm just now starting to see more posts and more comments and in my groups that talk about it, to where I was in the dark earlier and didn't know anything about it and thought I was facing it alone. No one is alone. And if you are not of age to be on the Be the Match donor list, your kids are probably old enough to be, grandkids, try to get them to do the swab and be a donor and save somebody's life. Hopefully in April I get to talk to my donor, because she's my lifesaver. Everybody have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.